All right, so this is Tuesday, June 21st, and it's the meeting of the Westwood.
Hello?
I can't hear anything. You can see me, right?
Yep.
You're on.
So this is the June 21st
No.
Westwood Recreation
Can you hear me?
Commission meeting. Yes, Joyce.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I can't hear you guys.
Unmute yourself
Oh,
or
Oh,
the volume.
All right,
she can't hear us. I'm trying to.
we gotta get a message to her to hit F5. That usually is the
I can do that.
mute
All
button.
right.
Write on a piece of paper
Alright.
and hold it out.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It doesn't show up. Great, great
There's also
start to.
should be a call-in number.
I can't. Oh, sorry.
Someone texted her, right? Should I keep?
I did.
All right, so I'll keep going. Calling the meeting of the Western Recreation Commission to order at 7:06 p.m. Public comment is the first agenda item. We do have someone from the public, correct?
Well, we actually have, and I'm gonna promote her now. A potential associate member who we interviewed last week, Chris Coleman, myself, and Sue Perry. In fact, her name is Rania Kelly. She was the one who tried to call in last month, and I mistakenly booted her out by hitting the wrong button. So she is hopefully going to be joining us any second. Try that again. For whatever reason, it takes a minute for the promotions to come through. Here she comes.
Can I ask a clarifying question just before we get started? Is Sheila taking notes today?
I was, but if you want to take notes, you're more than welcome to.
No, that's okay. I just didn't want to, I didn't know.
Thank you, Katie.
Do you want me to take them, Sheila?
Doesn't make any difference. Whatever you guys want. I mean, if you want to take them, you're more than welcome to take them.
Sure, I'll take them.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
So keep going, Ann.
So we have
Please.
Rania here. Did I pronounce that correctly? Okay. And my understanding is, Rania, that you are interested in being an associate member for the commission and you just want to sit and listen in to our meeting? Correct? Okay. Well, welcome. Excellent. Okay, so consent agenda. Before we make a motion to approve the agenda, does anyone wish to remove any item under the consent agenda portion? And hearing none, again, computer issues, so I'm only having one screen tonight, so I can't see, so please speak up if you have a comment. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Teresa, thank you. And I also approve the consent agenda. Paul, do you approve?
Should we second it?
Oh, God. Would you like, I will
Oh,
second it. How about that?
There you go.
I thought you meant Ann.
Yeah.
I cannot wait till we're back in person. Yeah, anyways. Paul, do you approve?
Yes.
And Mitch, do you approve?
We should be able to do this, but yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Sheila, do you approve?
Yes.
And Katie, do you approve?
Yes.
And Joyce, you can't hear us?
I can now.
Oh, good. Do you approve?
Sheila helped me.
Excellent. Do you approve
Wow.
of
Yes.
the consent agenda? Then no one is opposed, so it will pass. And next time when we can meet in person, we can say yay or nay and be done with this formality. Okay. So the next item on the agenda is the minutes and the approval of the minutes. I don't know if people had a chance to look at them. They start on page 2 of your packet. Does anyone, before we do a motion to approve, does anyone have any comments or on the minutes or questions?
I have a question about lifeguards, but I'm not sure if we're going to be talking about that in this meeting.
Go ahead.
Yeah, why don't you ask
I'm
a
just
question?
wondering if we hired anybody or where we stand on just the lifeguard situation.
We continue to hire lifeguards as part-time. We have not filled the full-time position,
Okay.
which is our aquatic specialist. That we've had a couple of interviews, but we have not made any offers.
Okay, thank you.
So does someone want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
Sure.
I'll
I'll move-
motion.
Go ahead.
Sheila, motion second.
I'll second
Second,
it.
Oh, geez, I didn't hear everyone, so I'm going to go with Teresa because I heard you. So Paul, do you approve?
Yes,
And Mitch, do you approve?
Yes.
And Katie, do you approve?
Yes.
And Joyce, do you approve?
Yes,
And I approve. So with that, the minutes are approved from last week. And so the next item is a monthly report, Rich? for
Sure, I'm
May.
just going, a lot of the stuff that's on this monthly report, we've already talked about already, so I'm
Yep.
not going, unless there's any questions, I'm not going to hit on anything with the exception of one thing which you may have seen posted on the, our Facebook page last month, where Sue Perry and Holly Coots presented at a regional aquatics conference and did some seminars, and I want to thank them both for doing that. It's very important that we stay in touch with the aquatics community, you know, in the area, and they were able to teach a couple of seminars, and they did a great job, and it was appreciated by all that attended. So I just wanted to point that out.
Excellent. And I saw that this is the week the tennis courts are being repurposed, finished.
That
Geez,
is correct.
Senior
Yeah.
moment.
hmm
Excellent. Great.
You know when they're scheduled, offhand, since we brought it up, when they're scheduled to be completed, Rich?
Yes, on Thursday for the actual resurface, and then they have to paint the lines. And I spoke to the contractor this morning about when they'll be painting the lines, and he can't give me an exact time as of this morning, but it will definitely be before Monday, because that's when all our summer programs start. So I'm hoping that it'll be done Friday, but he can't say for sure yet.
Well, since Elizabeth Phillips wasn't able to join us, I'll have to ask the tennis questions from now
Of
on.
course, that's we appreciate that, Mitch.
I see pickleball lines, second set of pickleball lines were painted. The
Mm.
people who use the court, they still have to bring their own nets, correct?
That's right.
Or sign out a net from the rec department?
That's right.
Okay, and how has the usage been? Do we know anything about the usage of people have been taking out nets or?
No one has been taking out nets. I can't really say in terms of usage, simply because it's on the other side of town, and
Mhm.
I can't look out like I can here for the
Yeah.
tennis courts here and see the usage. But I know that we use those courts currently for our programs, and our programs are, you know, we have wait lists and whatnot.
Yes,
So
yeah.
they are getting used, and it will help with our programming.
And these second lines, are you saying at Downey?
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah. So now how many, does that make 4 pickleball courts at Downey?
That's correct.
Great. Okay, go back to the agenda. Yeah, you're right, most of the things we did talk about. Okay, so the next agenda item is the commission leadership for filling the 3 open positions, chair, vice chair, and secretary.
So if I
And-
may,
Yeah.
and I just wanted to, before we get onto that subject, I just wanted to, which is very much related, is just the makeup of the commission, right? Because there are 3 people whose terms are ending on 6/30, and it affects the rest of this conversation. So I figured I would start there just to keep everything organized. So first, you may have heard Elizabeth Phillips has notified me of her intention to not request another term as associate member. And I just wanted to publicly thank Elizabeth for her 15+ years on the commission. She's done an amazing job. Certainly long preceding me here, and perhaps many of you as well. Many of you have worked with her longer than I have, and I certainly have appreciated working with her, and just wanted to acknowledge that publicly. She has graciously agreed to, or offered to, continue on and working with tennis and helping us with the tennis league that we run. So we thank her for that as well. So I just wanted to make that announcement. Secondly, Joyce has also informed me that she would like to step down as a full-time, full member of the commission at the end of her term this year, but offered to remain as an associate member. So that will be taken up on the on the select board tonight, and that's on the agenda for that. So again, we thank you for your full membership commitment over the years, Joyce, and we're very happy to have you remain as an associate member. So your input is greatly appreciated. And then lastly, Sheila's term is ending on the 30th as well. And after talking to her at the end of last week, she has requested another to stay on at another term, and has also offered to put her name up for chair. Okay, so
Thank you.
we won't be voting on that tonight because I didn't get that information until after the agenda was set for the select board, so they won't be approving Sheila until the July 11th select board meeting. So we'll take that vote for chair in August.
It's about time,
Okay.
Sheila.
And
Right.
welcome Teresa too. I know that's like the next agenda item, but yay, new member.
So
So we're happy to have you.
yeah. So the next election would be vice chair. If anybody would like to volunteer to be added for consideration for the vote, I spoke with Ann today, and she has offered to run for vice chair. So we have Ann as a candidate. Is there anyone else that would like to put their name forward for vice chair?
Yeah, I will not be offended.
All right, so if
Okay.
there are no other members who wish to put themselves forward, then we could, Ann, we could take a vote to vote you in as vice chair for the next year.
Oh, do we have to make a motion and second it?
Yes.
All right, so I guess I'll make the motion since I'm the one who
Second it.
offered.
I'll second.
All right, Teresa, are you in favor? And Paula, you in favor?
Yes.
And Mitch, you in favor? And Sheila, you in favor?
Yes.
And Joyce is still a full member for the next week or so, right?
That's
So,
correct.
Joyce, are
Mhm.
you in favor?
Yes.
All right, so I will become the vice chair effective
Katie.
at the next meeting.
Okay, great.
And then we'll have, I guess I play chair until we vote Sheila in.
That's right.
Or
Works.
I chair it as the vice chair until
That's right,
we
yeah.
vote Sheila in. Okay.
Yeah. So the next leaders.
Oh, but I may not be at the next meeting unless,
That's all right.
yeah, okay.
So the next position is secretary, and I'm talking with Katie, who has been doing an outstanding job over the past couple of weeks. And so is there anyone besides Katie who would like to put their name forth for secretary? No?
Don't all speak
Okay.
at once.
There you go. So Ann, I guess we'll go through the same process and vote Katie in.
All right,
as-
I'll make the motion for Katie as secretary. Does someone want to second it?
I'll second it.
Paul will second it. Teresa, you in favor?
Yes.
And Mitch? You in
To your
favor?
penmanship. No, of course, yes.
Let's see.
Sheila, are you in favor?
Yes, yes.
And Katie, are you in favor?
Sure. Yes.
And Joyce, are you in favor?
Yes.
All right, that
Correct.
motion passes as well.
Great. Well, congratulations, both of you. All right, and as we talked about a little bit earlier, I wanted to also introduce Rania Kelly. She approached, I believe, Tish a few weeks back inquiring about joining the commission. I had the pleasure of interviewing her with Chris Coleman and Sue Perry last week and invited her to this meeting so that you all could meet her. And I'd like to just give her a moment to introduce herself and offer up her background for you all, and then give you an opportunity to ask any questions of her. So Rania, the floor is yours.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Hi, everybody. Oh man, what to say? I actually grew up in Westwood. I went to Downey briefly and all the way through the high school. I came back once I had my son. I actually live in the house I grew up with, and which is funny. He goes to Downey now. He's 9. He's part of the reason I wanted to get involved with this. He's nonverbal and autistic. He has intellectual and developmental disabilities, and I think after a few years, I think I've been frustrated that there has been nothing I could take him to in the recreation booklet. So I think that spurred my interest. But I don't have that much, I hate to say, familiarity with Westwood Recreation, even though I have such a long history in the town. So that makes me a little sad. But my professional background is architecture. And I recently, part of the reason this spurred my interest is I've been noticing, even though it's not an issue for my son, that we don't have any accessible playgrounds in Westwood, and that has always bothered me. So I've been really intrigued with the universal design, specifically to outdoor spaces, whether it's playgrounds, parks, stuff like that, with people who have disabilities or challenges like the elderly as they get older and mobility becomes an issue, visual impairment, stuff like that. So I've been sort of educating myself in universal design in the lens of outdoor spaces, because I feel like a lot of times that those are spaces, community spaces, that aren't looked in that lens very often. And there's so much to know, and I don't know everything, but I'm trying to learn as much as I can, and it's an interest of mine. I think that's everything.
Well, welcome. We welcome your perspective.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting. I think it's an important part of our future going forward. So we should, we can certainly listen to your suggestions and paths that we have to take to help that out.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for Rania?
No, so is Rania's name on the select board tonight,
No,
or is that
not
also the
tonight,
next meeting?
No.
Okay.
I wanted to give her an opportunity to come to this meeting.
To say no.
And
Come on, Rich.
get a chance.
I hope
get a
we haven't
chance to
scared
meet
you away
y'all.
yet.
No, there's so much I don't know about recreation, which is a problem. But I mean, things I do understand. I can read site plans and site design and topo, and I understand grading and all that, but that's only a little fraction of what you all do. So
So you may recall several months back, it probably would have been last fall, I presented to you a plan that we have been working on for the School Street playground to add a few handicap accessible elements to that playground.
Mhm.
And Rania is the one who put together that rendering that I gave to you.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
So we
Great,
should let
thanks.
Rania take a peek at the pickleball drawings when they come out as well.
So,
oh, sure, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
because access is gonna, access and, availability and all that sort of fun stuff needs to be looked at as well. We'll value your professional oversight, for sure.
Sure, I understand parking and all that other stuff and can calculate square footage and all that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'd love to take a look at it.
Perfect.
Okay,
Great, thanks.
all right
All
then.
right.
I think that is,
Um,
that is all of the commission changes, additions, etc.
I'm
So-
sorry, Rich, this is Paul. Did we miss, or I missed the discussion on the pickleball? Was this specifically just
we
about
haven't-
down?
We,
All right,
that
we
will
have-
be, that would be next, yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Just
All
wanted
right,
to
what-
give anybody any last chance to talk about any of the changes or discussions that we've had about the membership. No? Okay,
Thank you, Ann, for your service, and thanks for the new people who are stepping up. Thank you very much.
ditto.
Yeah,
And I apologize. I think I got myself disoriented between not having the two screens and flipping back and forth. And I think I started reading from minutes instead of the agenda. So I think I took things out of order. I apologize. But I think I am back on the agenda now. So we
Yeah, we can do
did, I
pickleball
mean,
next.
we did skip over pickleball. You did mention member
Mhm.
term. Yeah.
Yeah.
I apologize for that. So yes, pickleball. Let's pick up for
Okay.
that.
All right, so Paul, you had asked for a bunch of information about pickleball, much of which at this point I do not have, simply because we're not at that stage yet, right? But I will be happy to share with you where we are and what the next steps are. So we have engaged with an engineering firm and to create a design plan and a cost estimate. I was expecting to have that back on Friday. However, I did not receive it. I sent a note out today at some point to my contact to get a sense of when I'll see it, but it should be any day. Once we get that, we'll obviously review it, ask any questions about his renderings and what have you. And most importantly, look at the cost estimates and compare that to the budget that we have. And that will, then from there, we'll be able to, I'll meet again with town administrator and review and basically get the green light to move forward. If the cost estimate comes back anything like I expect it will, we will have the money, and then we'll just have to move forward, at which case we'll start to do bids and things like that. Usually this is a bid process that'll have to go out for a public bid. So we would, the engineer would have to provide specific bid specs and whatnot. That will take some time. Then the public bid process takes anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. And then we can go and hire a contractor and schedule the work. So we're still several months before we would ever even remotely come close to breaking ground, but those are the steps and that's where we are.
Can I ask a quick question?
Of course, Katie.
Is there, I'm new to this entire process, but is that how it works every time, that you have to go out and have an engineer design and then go out and get bids? There's not like an approved list of contractors you can work from that's already approved from the state of Massachusetts?
Well, some vendors do have approval, in which case you wouldn't necessarily, we'd always still need to get 3 quotes, but in this case, given the amount of money that we're talking about, we would need to put it out to public bid. Okay. The process for hiring engineer is, I guess, optional, but it's not very prudent to go ahead and to do that without having a design. So we would always, something as complicated as this, and it's a simple project, but it's still complicated. There's a lot that goes to it. And we would want to make sure that we have a proper design, a proper bid spec. So will be the ones, working with procurement, of course, will be the ones that will be selecting the contractor. And while I know a bit about pickleball courts, I'm not an engineer or anything like that. And I would want to have professionals design this thing to make sure that it's done correctly, that it's done to last. And then as we go through the process, we hire them to help with the bid, select the contractor, because again, that's what these guys do that's their profession. And then help us manage the project to make sure that once we hire a contractor, that the work is being done correctly, professionally, and again, to a high standard. So yeah, it's pretty standard, Katie.
Yeah.
But then, so the cost for like the engineer to come in and kind of draw up that design, is that included in like your original budget for the courts, or is
Oh,
that?
yeah, I certainly took that into account. When we met with the engineer, we asked them for a quote, what would it cost? So before we committed to hiring them, we got a quote. And then, and there are stages, right? So there are basically 3 stages. There's design and cost estimate, there's bid, and then there's project management. So those 3 elements of their quote are separate. So if we get the design and cost estimate and decide not to go forward, we wouldn't engage in the second 2 pieces of the contract, right? But assuming that we were good with the design and the cost estimate, and we move forward, we would engage in the second and third parts of the contract as necessary. So absolutely, that's part of the financial decision, but we have a sense of what that cost would be in advance of engaging.
So the engineers, are they helping us go put it out to bid?
Oh, yes, they will be if we
Developers
do.
too?
Yeah, if we go forward with the
Okay.
bid, they will.
But they're not the developers, like
No.
they don't have relationship with the developers. Okay.
No. So,
But
And
they
then
give us an
Paul-
estimate as how much, okay, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Finish your question, Ann.
But they have a good estimate of what the development cost should be,
that's
and
correct.
they give that to us
Mhm,
before so we know what to look for. Okay,
That's right.
Katie.
Mhm. Right.
And then my only last question is, I know a few months back, I think Paul mentioned possibly putting in like even the wiring for lighting if we can't, if it's not in the budget to do lighting now. Is that something that's part of
Yeah,
that design?
So,
Just to get an
yeah,
idea of what it would cost?
yeah, Katie, thank you for bringing that up, because that's something, having and asking Rich that we should look, get an ad alternate for, adding lights and seeing if we can get someone from the town, some sponsors to step up and actually pay for the lights and maybe get funding. Not saying that they have to build it at that time and just, we don't want to just run the cable and leave it there, but we want to have be able to know that we can do it. Rich explained before that putting in lights will not be difficult. It's a very small space that we could add those lights later on going around the court, and doing some digging. But my thoughts are, if we can get the engineers in advance to say, okay, here's an ad alternate to the contractors saying, tell us what it would cost to bring lights. And then we have a firm number that we can bring to sponsors, to bring to people who would have their name. I'm just throwing this out, their name on a plaque or something, lights by whatever. I don't want to name any
Roach
companies
Brothers,
here.
yeah.
Yeah, well, they've been a great supporter of our town.
I know.
Fantastic supporter.
Yeah.
But something like that would be interesting, that I would love to see added to the bid, to the bid
good idea.
proposals. Is that something
idea.
you can do, Rich?
I've got to look to see what we ultimately, I know we talked about it that day, Paul. I don't remember where we landed on that. I'd have to look at whether or not they're going to do that or not. I don't remember, to
So-
be truthful.
So if it's not going to cost much, I'd recommend that they do that.
Yep.
I'd like to have them do it. I mean, it's something, unless anybody here on the commission is in disagreement with that, then I'd like to have that be part of the proposal as part of the result from the engineers.
That's a good idea, because ultimately lights would be probably beneficial. Certainly lights in the tennis courts are great. But
Mitch, you're very faint in
can
speaking.
you hear me?
Now I
That's
can.
better.
Yeah.
That's better.
Okay, sorry, I was leaning back. My concern is, well, if we get an idea of what the cost is, then if you're talking about getting it privately funded, you're adding months onto this project unless we get some wealthy individual or a company like Roach Brothers. But we did this with the ballpark in Morrison Field, Morrison Park. We sold bricks. There's all kinds of fundraising from private citizens, but that would take quite a while. So I don't think we want to
No,
bog the project down.
but I agree. It will take time, but we don't know what the cost is or how big that would be. Is it 50,000? 20,000?
Well,
Are
you're
we
gonna have to
talking
run the
about lights
lines.
that can,
200.
200,000 for lights?
Can we phase
I-
it so we can just run the conduit lines under the court? Then the second
wouldn't
phase will be
recommend
put the
that,
lights
nor-
in?
I wouldn't recommend that, nor would the engineer. You don't want to run a conduit under that. The perimeter is so small, you're not saving anything by running, you just go around the perimeter. It's what we did on the
So-
tennis courts and it's,
Yeah.
so if that's the case, lights can come later.
that's right.
So if we got a cost estimate now, there would be potential, if we wanted to go the fundraising route, to do that without holding up the building of the pickleball.
That
It
Or
would
makes
if you have
sense.
another successful summer next year, we could put the lights in after next year then.
I just don't want the project for those who play. I'm not a pickleball player, but we don't want to delay it. We want to get
Yeah.
it built and then we
Yeah.
can deal with the.
I want to get a
lights
league
underneath.
running on the pickleball courts. That would be fun, like a pickup league. We can
Yeah.
just show up, because like
Right.
I might have one other person that wants to play, but you really sort of need four. Unless you want to run all over the place. Yeah.
And-
That's the
and
whole
it-
point of pickleball is you don't run around all over the
Yeah,
place. right?
exactly.
If you want to run all over the place, play tennis.
Play tennis.
The recreation, I'll just say that I'm a member, the Recreation Tennis League, which is adults on Sunday and Tuesday night, runs wonderful. It's a great, you show up and there's 12 people. It's so popular that you have to sign up. I didn't make the cut for Sunday, for example, but it works well. It probably would work well in your case for pickleball. You could,
Yeah.
20 people sign up, you have a certain time, and then 12 people sign up and it's like a league, but it's not official.
And my
Yeah.
understanding is it's sort of round robin, like you just swap out, like you come, like how some of these leagues run. I haven't checked any of them out because I'm a little nervous, but it's like you play for, I don't know, so many minutes, then you go out, somebody else swaps in. So you might go with your friends, but you'll be playing against everyone who's there as the rotation goes.
And I've also
So
been told,
Norwood on Wednesdays and Thursdays, they do that. They start at 5:30 and they go till 7. So it's around whoever
Oh.
shows up and then they just rotate between the courts.
Yeah.
The Westwood.
Teresa?
Tennis. 12
I
people
have
show up.
talked to different parents in town, because I was talking with somebody for my husband, and I know of at least one dad circle, and I think there's a mother circle as well, who have a text group running. And I think there's like 40 or 50 parents, 40 or 50 dads, 40 or 50 moms in these two different groups. And they just say, okay, this night we're going to go to this place or this person's house and play pickleball. Who's in? We're looking for 10 people. And they said it fills up in minutes. So I think that there's like an underground
Wow.
community of really hardcore players or people who are very intrigued in playing. So I don't think filling a league would be in any stretch.
Yeah.
I made the joke, be like, well, where are the t-shirts? I want to join the pickleball team and get a t-shirt. Like, I know there's definitely that pot of people
Okay.
already there.
And
when I-
Mitch, you were,
Down on Wednesdays, I see them too.
So, I'm sorry, I'm like, I don't want to stop this conversation. Is there anybody have anything else to say on this topic?
I think Mitch was starting to say something. Were you?
No, it's just talking about the mechanics of the round robin, but we don't have to deal with that.
Yeah. Perfect.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Eventually, we could probably use your help.
yeah, exactly. And my final comment on doing the lights later versus doing them now is that, when you do digging, it means heavy machinery, heavy equipment in the area. And just wondering and being sure that, just the concern of damage to the courts, keeping the heavy machinery, making sure there's space at the final one that's over by the fence here, what we have to do to actually dig
Mm.
again, if we don't have the conduits surrounding the perimeter of the courts, maybe, as opposed to asking for the add alternate for lights, maybe we ask for an add alternate which would be very cheap. I mean, 4-inch conduits are nothing, for putting conduits in, now, with the project, just circumventing, going around, at least around, some of it. I don't know. I'm just concerned that, Mitch brought up a good point. We don't want to delay this. But at the same time, I don't want to go back with heavy equipment and start beating up the brand new brand new pickleball courts.
Good
What do you
point.
think about that, Rich?
Yeah, I don't think that the machinery would tear up the courts. Again, I can tell you that what they used to do the tennis courts out here was not ultra heavy equipment. It wasn't a scooter, but
Yeah,
it wasn't like a big excavator or anything like that. It was
So-
a very small piece of equipment.
I keep forgetting that. I forget that the lights were actually installed in the tennis courts after, so
That's right.
somebody did them right. Okay,
Yeah.
very
That's
good.
right. Yep.
So that really, that eliminates a lot of a lot of my questions, so you don't have to worry about that then.
Okay. Excellent.
So if there's nothing else on pickleball, I think I'm back on the appropriate agenda. The director staff reports, and the next thing is the event updates, Fireman's Foam.
So we're gonna do Fireman's Foam again this year. You guys probably saw the cover from last year. You can't see it, but it was the floating head, we like to call it. This kid came out of the foam. Literally, all you could see was his head. It was amazing last year. To remind everybody that we don't use literal firefighters foam. We use Dawn dish detergent. Okay, it's completely safe. We buy it ourselves and we give it to the firefighters when they come. So it's completely safe. It's just dish detergent. So we're looking forward to that. And as a quick aside, we also in years past, we haven't done it in the past 2 years, but in years past prior, we had them do another firefighters foam at one day at camp. So they've agreed to do that for us as well, which is great. So the kids will have fun with that at camp. And the event that is open to the public free is July 13th from 2 to 3 p.m. and it's at the Sheehan School. Okay. So the next update I just wanted to give you real quick is about our summer programming. It starts on Monday, so we're less than a week away. And we had our training last week. It went terrific. On Tuesday, we had our all-staff employee handbook training, which basically teaches them all of the rules that they need to follow. On Wednesday night, we had the new training that I had talked to you about, where we hired a BCBA who came in and talked and gave the counselors some skills on how to influence behavior with children. Again, these days, especially post-COVID, it's been a little bit more of a challenge than years past. So I wanted to bring in someone to give our counselors some actual training on how to handle children and how to positively influence their behavior. It was a remarkable night. The training was terrific. The BCBA, which stands for Board Certified Behavioral Analyst, she helped us develop the iSTEAM program that I've talked to you about in the past. So that was very successful. And then we had program-specific training on Thursday, so camp, aquatics, sports. So we're all trained up, and this week we're just in the last minute preparations. For move-in day at the school is Friday, and then all systems go on Monday. All right, so
Rich, I have a quick question for you.
sure.
For the BCBA, and I'm so ecstatic for this. I think this is gonna be huge. Will they be collecting data, like how many kids the BCBA individually sees, or how many kids are either in crisis or are needing of the de-escalation supports, so that we can just kind of get a sense of, I think this is a needed position, but is it needed more than just a person and all that kind of stuff? Like, we'll be collecting any data on that?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't think we considered that. It's a good idea. The position that we hired full-time for the summer is not a BCBA. She has behavioral training. The woman who did the training was a BCBA, but the person that will be working for us this summer, who's a behavioral specialist, is trained in the field, just not as highly trained as a BCBA. Okay, so I'm going to take that back and talk to Joe about that. That's a great idea, Teresa. I know for our iStream program, we did do statistics and whatnot, and we use that to help us develop other future programming.
Okay, because I was when I was teaching, I worked with a lot of BCBAs, and I just remember the data
Yeah.
spoke volumes.
Yeah,
And so
no
I was
question.
curious post COVID, and I know that there's been some runners in the past and different things. I don't think people understand the volume that the support that some kids need.
Right. What I can tell you is last summer, and this is just anecdotal. We did not keep statistics, but we did see an increase in behavioral issues from years prior, and everybody that I talked to in other departments that deal with children have had similar feedback that mental health in this country took a hit because of COVID, and especially with our children, with the isolation and the lockdowns and the masks and everything. So when as we were preparing for this summer, way back last fall, this was something that I was pretty passionate about adding to our team to help us with this summer. And because I was very close, I participated a lot in the camp last summer and saw it with my own eyes. And of course, in collaborating with my team, we agreed that this was, we saw a difference. And then in talking to, some peers and whatnot, it was just the anecdotal evidence was there. And so I'm like, well, we need to do more to help train our staff, as well as provide support for the staff, with having someone on site who is trained. And so I think it's a good idea. So we'll explore that and come up with something.
Awesome.
Thank you for the input. All right, any other questions about summer as we're coming down the finish line here, the home stretch? No?
Nope.
All right,
And I
and
think
then the last update that I had on here, and Ann had already touched upon it, is, and so unless there's any questions, that the resurfacing of the tennis courts is currently underway. And they will be done on Thursday with the actual resurface, and then paint the lines. Hopefully I'll get more of an update tomorrow, but again, he knows he has to be finished by Monday, and he committed to having that done. So go ahead, Mitch.
Question.
Mitch?
Who actually inspects the work they do? And is there some type of warranty or guarantee?
There's
against-
a warranty. Yes, there's a 1-year warranty. Yeah.
Okay, but as far as they're done, they just say they're done. Is there anyone from the town DPW that would actually inspect what was done to sign off before they're paid, for example? I don't know the technical procedure. We don't have to go through all that, but is there any inspection done by anyone from the town?
Yeah, so Sue and I will go out there and take a look at it and make sure that it looks good.
Well, that's a good thing, but you're respectfully, you're not an engineer, and neither is Sue, but is there someone with any engineering training?
I'm sorry, Mitch, you're cutting out again. I can't hear you.
That's a good thing, but respectfully, you're not an engineer, nor do you have expertise in the design of tennis courts, I take it. So isn't someone like a Todd Korchin who would have some engineering background, or someone from the DPW check this thing out
I
before?
can ask them if they will.
I mean, it just seems like I don't mean to criticize you. It just seems it should be a normal thing. If you're spending 150, whatever the number was, and you're going to go and do a visual inspection, which is fine, but that doesn't mean you can inspect what was done or not done. I think someone with some engineering, like DPW, should come and look at this project just as a matter of course. So.
And I agree 100% with you, Mitch. Anytime there's any kind of construction projects going on, there are periodic inspections where you have to get to a certain point. Rainier, you could probably fill us in a little bit better than I
Mhm.
can, but I've been through it. I worked for an engineering firm and we used to always have periodic inspections of what the general contractor or what the contractor is doing. I think that should be a request to the facilities
Wouldn't the
group.
building department, wouldn't the town building inspector come out and
Not on
check that? Or he
something like
doesn't
this,
look
no.
at surfaces?
There's
Is
no-
there a town engineer?
No,
I thought there was.
Oh,
no.
I mean, this is the bigger, it's fine if this doesn't happen, but just in general, when we're doing a project like this, someone from the town who has some expertise should be looking at this saying, how is this done? Because yes, the warranty is good, but we want to prevent cracks. Once you start getting cracks and you have to have them come in and start to fill it, and then the hassle of them coming back and saying, well, this is a normal risk versus a defect, it's better to be upfront and look at it and have someone inspect it to avoid this. But that's all, that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
well, we should, and think about it for the pickleball courts when we're doing those as well.
There you have an engineer, well, Rich said they'll have an engineer who'd sign off on it.
That's true. He'll be supervising the whole thing. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. All right, do we have any items that were not reasonably anticipated 48 hours ahead of time that anyone wants to talk about?
I just want to make sure that Mitch's suggestion, so we don't have to go through each and every person each time, that a thumbs up on the screen will be accepted for.
My
so we can.
understanding was it had to be verbal while we're
Yes.
online, but yeah.
It needs
Where's
to be
that?
But
verbal.
Okay,
yeah, I
Yeah.
know, Mitch. My other understanding is that unless something changes, we're back in person for the next meeting, which means we can
That's correct.
raise our hands again because we're
Okay.
in person.
That's
Or do a
correct.
thumbs up if we want.
Correct and
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
okay.
Yes, I would prefer that as well instead of calling on people. In fact, I think one meeting I did do that and then found out that was not okay. So the next meeting, tentatively August 15th. Now I am on vacation that week, but I don't think I can make the following Monday either. So I suggest we not schedule the meeting around me and see how many people can make the 15th.
I will not be able to make that meeting. That'll be right smack a week and a half after my surgery.
Sheila, will you be chairman by then?
I would
That will be
imagine
the meeting
so,
you
right?
vote, right? Would that be the meeting we vote her in?
Yes. Do that
And
first
would we
thing.
have, we would have a quorum if you were there, Rich.
Yep, I'll be there.
Is everybody else available on the 15th?
I am not. I will not be there.
I'm sorry, besides myself and Paul. Yep,
Oh, would it be Zoom or live?
that would be live.
It will be live unless something changes, Mitch. There is legislation apparently in the legislature somewhere that it could be approved to continue Zoom meetings. But as of right now, it has not been approved.
It just might be easier for everyone. If we know it's Zoom, then wherever we are, if we're on a Cape or something, we can just obviously do it on the computer. But to guarantee we're going to be here mid-August is dicey, I think, for a lot of people.
We'll just have to wait till Angela sends the invite out and see who accepts.
Well,
I
we
mean,
need
if we
to have
don't
a
have a
quorum.
quorum, there's no mandate that we have to have a meeting in August either. I know we've always skipped July. We've usually started up again in August. Of course, we'll have, I'm just
Westwood
looking at the
Day.
calendar. We have Westwood Day on the 17th and the third Monday is the 19th. So we would probably want to have one meeting before Westwood Day, I would think, but
I mean, even to talk about volunteers and
Mhm.
whatnot, logistics. I think we need to pick a date in August.
I'm around 15th, if that makes
I
a
know I'm
difference.
new at the alternate. And so I won't be voting anymore. I just come. I don't really even know the role of it.
that's correct.
Mhm.
If
You
we
can
need,
talk.
if we don't have enough
Yeah,
if we don't have enough to make a quorum,
True.
alternate members can be promoted for one meeting to make a quorum.
Okay.
Okay,
So then it would be, valuable if we knew if you could be there at the August meeting.
Mhm.
And I know I'm definitely away. That's why I was making sure that I'm.
Okay,
I'm
all right.
I'm traveling.
Do we move it to the 21st? Do we? Like, is there a day
22nd.
or the,
I'm
or is
I'm
the- what,
indifferent.
so that 22nd, yeah.
I'm indifferent for me.
It's possible I could make it the 22nd. I'm just not sure yet.
Who can't make the 22nd?
I'm questionable.
All right, so Paul can make the 22nd, right? Paul, are you?
Well, it
You'll be
depends.
around?
If everything comes out good, I'll be there.
Okay.
I can't commit right now.
Okay,
Why don't we say the 22nd then?
Okay,
It's a better chance.
I can be there on the 22nd.
okay. Then
And-
let's do August 22nd.
And we're assuming that's going to be in person at this moment.
That's correct. That's
Mhm.
correct.
And,
Yeah, I can let you know. I think that may be move-in day to my son's apartment. But I will let you know.
so are we all set with that conversation?
22nd.
Great. So so Rich, I'm just, maybe we should get the bylaws out to, members who have not received them. Teresa, have you received the bylaws yet? Okay, we should get the bylaws out to our new members.
Okay,
Sounds good.
Oh, you know what, Rich, it'd
If-
be great. I'm sorry. If you could just copy the whole commission on that. I'm sorry, because I've been looking for it for the last couple of minutes. I don't know where I stored it.
Not a problem. I'll
Oh, thank-
I'll resend them to everybody. Not a
Thank
problem.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you, Rich.
yeah. Okay, so with that, if there's nothing else, do I have a motion or can I have a motion to adjourn?
To adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Teresa, I'll make a motion. Sheila, do you want to second it?
Absolutely, yep.
All right, I approve. Paul, approve.
Approved.
Mitch, approve.
Approve.
And Katie, do you approve?
Yes.
And Joyce, do you approve?
Yes.
All right, great. So the meeting is adjourned at 7:57 PM. And hopefully we'll see as many people as possible on the 22nd.